Let's talk about something every creative person faces: chaos. Is it just part of the process, or is it holding you back? Today, we're diving into an amazing story about one writer's journey from a totally frantic, unpredictable cycle to a disciplined system that finally unlocked their real potential. It's all about building their very own operating system for success. But before we get into their story, just take a second and think about this for yourself. What does your creative process actually look like? Are you running like a well-oiled machine, or is it a little more all over the place? Just kind of keep that in your head as we go. All right, so our story starts in a place that probably feels pretty familiar to a lot of us: total chaos. We're talking 4 straight years where the author's process wasn't a process at all. It was just an unpredictable mess of trial and error, completely defined by a lack of any real system. So from 2007 all the way to 2010, the way this author approached writing had no rhyme or reason. Seriously, there was no plan, no schedule, just these random, intense bursts of work, followed by long stretches of absolutely nothing. It was the classic cycle of trial and, well, a whole lot of error. And this right here just perfectly captures the creative whiplash they were dealing with. It swung from one insane extreme to the other. You'd have days that were a complete wash, just listening to music, making excuses, feeling like inspiration would never come. And then, bam, a totally manic burst of energy would hit, and they'd crank out an unbelievable 80 scenes in one go. That is the definition of a boom and bust cycle. And the result of living in this constant state of creative whiplash? Well, it's pretty predictable, right? As the author themselves put it, everything was just a jumbled mess. There was no consistency, no real forward momentum, just this tangled knot of unpredictable work. But this wasn't just a feeling of being disorganized. The chaos was having real, actual consequences. The evidence was piling up, and it made one thing painfully obvious. This way of working was a complete and total failure. And the price for all this chaos? It was steep. First off, the quality of the actual screenplays was just not good. But it went beyond the work. There was a heavy physical price to pay. Those crazy 80 scene days led to such deep exhaustion that it would take 2 or 3 full days just to recover, completely killing any momentum they had. And this number, wow, it just powerfully sums up the result of those 4 years of chaos. 5. 5 completed screenplays that were so poor in quality, they could never be shown to anyone. I mean, can you imagine the work that goes into writing 5 whole scripts, only for them to be completely unusable? That is just devastating. But you know how it is. Sometimes hitting rock bottom is exactly what you need to have the biggest breakthrough. So after 4 years of spinning their wheels and failing, a huge realization hit, and it led to the creation of something they call the writer's operating system. And here it is. This is the core light bulb moment. The answer wasn't some magic muse or waiting for inspiration to strike out of the blue. The secret, the author realized, was that a regular, structured lifestyle is absolutely essential for a writer. It's the stable ground you need to build real creativity on. And this led to such a brilliant analogy. Think about it. A computer needs an operating system, an OS, to manage all its parts so it can run efficiently, right? Well, a writer needs a personal system to manage themselves. It covers everything from planning all the way to the final draft. See, it's not about managing the writing, it's about managing the writer. Okay, so having the idea for an OS is one thing, but how in the world do you actually build it? Let's take a look at how the author turned this cool concept into a practical, everyday reality. The change wasn't gradual. It was a hard reset. They drew a line in the sand. This new chapter, this whole new way of working, it began on a very specific date, January 1st, 2011. A true, fresh start for a new system. The system was really built on 3 core ideas. First, breaking the schedule up into specific, defined blocks of time. Second, planning everything out, not just for the day, but thinking in bigger chunks like weeks, months, and even the whole year. And third, and this is so important, applying a personal writing rhythm. It wasn't about forcing some rigid plan, but about finding a structure that worked with their own natural energy. And the proof that this system actually worked? It isn't just one successful project. It's the fact that the author has stuck with this system for 15 years. 15! That's how you know this is a real sustainable change, not just some temporary fix. It's a whole new way of life. So what was the actual result of this massive shift in thinking? Well, the effects were huge. It transformed not just the author's work, but their entire life and well-being. I mean, this slide really tells the whole story, doesn't it? That jumbled mess was totally replaced with physical and psychological stability. That awful cycle of burnout was replaced by a writing process that actually worked with the body's natural rhythm. And the most important part, the low-quality work was replaced by a slow but steady improvement in quality. So the ultimate takeaway here is that the system didn't crush creativity, it unleashed it. This new structure gave them the mental stability and physical health they needed to finally do what they'd been chasing for years, see a real, steady, significant improvement in the quality of their work. And this brings us right back to where we started, back to you. This story is so powerful because its lesson can apply to absolutely anyone trying to do anything big, whether you're a writer, an artist, or an entrepreneur. So I'll leave you with this to think about. What's your personal operating system? And if you don't really have one, what would it look like if you started building it today?